Welcome to Kendra's Artistic Crochet Designs. And so we are going to be making this Easter egg diamond today. Isn't that pretty? And we'll see how this goes. Alright, so we are going to chain 1 and chain 2, and in the second chain from the hook, we are going to put a single crochet and 2 doubles. And this is called a falling leaf stitch. In case you haven't been following what I've been doing in the last 3 months. This is also called one square. And we are, of course, starting with green. I'm hoping you could see that. So this is row 1, which is 1 square. Okay? Every row, it'll go up by 1. The squares. We're going to chain 2 and turn. And in the second chain from the hook again, we are going to make our falling leaf stitch. Now we are going to do this at the beginning of every row. So, alright. Now, this is your first square. For your second square, we need to skip the next 2 stitches. And in this third stitch, which is a single crochet, and you will always be crocheting in single crochets. Unless you're at the very beginning, you're going to crochet in the second chain from the hook. But otherwise, you'll be crocheting in those singles. And this is row 2. So we have 2 squares now. So now we're going to chain 2 and turn. And we are going to crochet in the second chain from the hook again. And this is row 3, so we're going to be putting 3 squares in. And they're all green. So there's 1. We're skipping 2 stitches, and here's the single crochet right here. Put our falling leaf stitch in there, and then 2 stitches, and then the last stitch over is our single crochet. And then we'll put the falling leaf stitch in there. And now we have 3 squares. Alright, so we are going to change in this next row, in row 4. So, as always, we start out the row in the second chain from the hook. I'm putting a square in there. And then we need to switch colors. But so I made the single a double and half of a double because I am going to finish that off with the other color. Now, we need to bring this forward so I don't get this all messed up. Hang on a second. I don't want these yarns to tangle. And then I always bring along, I always make a long tail because I like to sew my tails in. Alright, so now we go to the next one, and we're putting 2 blue in the next. So, in the next 2, we're putting a blue in the next 2. So you'll have 2 blue squares. And I'm carrying this green with me because I need a green square at the end. So it's green, 2 blue, and green in this row. Now I'm going to leave that blue behind and pull up the green. And then we're going to put this green in this last stitch right here. And that's what it looks like. Okay, so now we have 4 rows, and I need to mark these off. Just so I don't get confused, and it's a lot easier if you mark them off and then you know where your next row is too. Alright, so now we're going to chain 2 and turn. And of course, the green, you're always going to have the border as the green, okay? So you're always going to start out with green in this pattern. And so in this pattern I need 5 squares. So it's green, blue, green, blue, green. And so that's how every other one is going to be. And I'm going to switch over to blue now. So this row will be green, blue, green, blue, green. All the way across. And you will have 5 squares when you're done. And now I'm going to switch to green. So after every square we're switching colors. So we need to carry the colors with us, as you can see. And I have another blue one right here. And then we're going to do the last one in green. But if you noticed, I don't carry this last one in the last one. I just leave it there. Because it doesn't need to go all the way across. Because I'm going to be starting out with a green, so there's no use in carrying that blue all the way across. Just leave it there, and then when you come to it, you'll be able to use it. And there you have it. So that is what row 5 looks like. And we're going to Alright, so we have 5 rows already. Alright, so let's go to row 6. And we're going to chain 2 and turn. So I'm going to start off with the first one here, the first square. Okay, and then I need to switch over to blue. And in this row, row 6, we need green, 4 blue, and a green. I need to pull some of this out of there because it's a brand new skein. Sometimes it's hard to come out. Alright, so there is 2. 3. And 4. And now we're going to switch over to the green. And then make the green your last one. And that's what row 6 looks like. So it's marking off row 6. Now row 7 is next. So I'm going to chain 2 and turn. And of course I'm going to start off my first one and the second chain from the hook, which is green. Alright, and now I need to switch over to blue. So now I need 2 blue. And then I need to switch to green. And I need a green. And then switch back to blue. And then we need 2 blue again. And then switch back to green. And then of course the last one is green. And in this pattern, the first and the last will always be green. I don't know if that helps or not, but anyway, green, 2 blue, green, 2 blue, and green. That's how row 7 goes. Alright, in row 8, we're going to chain 2 and turn. And starting out our first square, as we usually do. And then I need to go to blue. So now I need 2 blue. So there's 1. 2. Switch over to green. And now I need 2 green. And now we're going to switch back to blue. And I need 2 blue again. And then, oh, wait a minute. First of all, we need 2 blue. Before we switch over to the green again for the last time. And now we're switching over to the green. Okay, and that's what row 8 looks like. Chain 2 and turn. And then we need to start with the blue. We started with the green. We need to switch to blue. And wait a minute. That green has to come over here so I don't get these yarns tangled. Alright. Alright, so now we need 3 blue. And then a green here in the middle. And then 3 blue again. And then we're going to end up with a green at the end as usual. And that is what row 9 looks like. So cool. Okay. Marking off the number 9. And we're getting almost 10 rows done. Alright, so chain 2 and turn. So this row is easy. We're on row 10, so you're going to have 10 squares. It is 1 green, 8 blue, and 1 green at the end. So we're just going to put our blues in the middle here between these 2 greens. So there's 1. 2. 3. 4. 5. 6. 7. And this is 8. All right. And that is row 10. And you should have 10 squares with row 10. Mark off row 10. And on to row 11. So, chain 2 and turn our work. So this is pretty much the same as row 10, row 11 is, except for you're going to have 9 blues in the middle instead of 8. So it's green, 9 blues, and green. So there's 2. 3. 4. 5. 6. 7. 8. And 9. And there is row 11. And what row 11 looks like. Row 12, chain 2 and turn. In row 12, we're going to put 10 in the middle between the two greens. Alright, so there's one. Two. Three. Four. Five. Six. Seven. Eight. Nine. 10. Now we're going to switch over to green, finish off this row. And there is row 12. Okay, so now row 13, chain 2 and turn. And we're going to put 11 blue in the middle of the two greens this time. Switch over to blue. And there is Miss Pumpkin. Hello there, Miss Pumpkin. So there's one. Two. Three. Four. Five. Six. Seven. 8. 9, 10, 11. Switch over to the green, finish it off. And so here is now 13 rows. Finished. Let's mark off 12 and 13. "14 is next, and we've got a little bit of variation going on. We're going to chain 2 and turn. We're going to start the Easter egg in this row. So we are going to start off like we normally do with our green. Alright, and then we're going to switch over to blue. And I need 4 blue. So there's 1. 2. 3. And 4. And my Easter egg does start out with pink, but I am going to use this lavender instead. This pretty lavender. So I'm going to switch over to that. Yes. And I am needing 2 of those. And then I'm going to switch over to blue again. I'm leaving this lavender behind. And now I need 6 blue and a green to finish off this row. So we've got a little bit of the Easter egg started. So there's 2. 3. I'm really loving this blue. This blue is so pretty. 4. 5. 6. And now go back to the green, leaving the blue there. And there is row 14. let's mark off row 14. Row 15. We're going to chain 2 and turn. In this row, you should have 15 squares. And then we're going to switch over to blue. So we have blue here, and then we're switching over to green for one green, one blue, one green. Switch back over to blue. And now I need 3 blue. There's 3 blue. And now we need the lavender. And we are going to need 5 lavender. Alright, so there's 1. 2. 3. 4. 5. And then we're going to switch back to blue. We're going to leave the lavender behind. Switching over to blue. And now we need blue, green, blue, green, blue. No, it's blue, green is what it is. The last 4. We're switching back and forth of blue and green in the last 4 stitches. And of course our last stitch here is green. There we have it. My paper. Row 15 is done with 15 squares. Row 16 is next. Chain 2 and turn. There's our first square. Switching over to blue. So the next one is blue. And then we need green. That way. We're needing one green. Switching back to blue. How did I mess that up? With those two. Dang it. And then we're going to switch over to purple. And we need 6 of them. Alright. Alright, so there's 2. That's 3. This is 4. Five. And 6. Alright, and now we need blue. So we're going to switch back to the blue. And we're going to leave that lavender behind. And we need 2 blue next. Then switching back to green. What the heck? And I need 2 green. And then we need 1 blue and a green to finish up this row. And there you have row 16. Row 16 is done. And it looks like there goes Mr. Owl. It's 6 o'clock. Chain 2 and turn. This is row 17. We are going to switch over to blue, and we need 2 blue. So there's 1. And 2. And now switching over to green, we just need 1 green here to complete this little square on the side. And then switching back to blue, we need 2 blue. So there's 1. And 2. So, we are going to start the yellow part of our Easter egg, and I'm actually going to cut off this purple because, you know, we'll be going back to purple, but not until later. I'm not going to keep that on there. I'd rather cut that off and tie that end down. Alright, so now we're going to start yellow. This is where the yellow comes in. This way too, we're only dealing with 3 different colors at a time. Alright, so we need 7 yellow next. So there's 1. 2. 3. 4. 5. 6 and 7. And then we need to finish this row off. I'm going to leave this yellow here. We're going to finish this row off with 3 blue and a green to finish everything off. There's 2. And 3. And then we'll put the green in the end. 1. And this here is 17 rows. And we've started our yellow and our Easter egg. Okay, so row 18, we're going to chain 2 and turn. Switch over to blue. Alright, switching over to blue, and we are needing 3 blue, so there's 2, and 3, and now we need to switch off to yellow. Bring the yellow in. And now we need 8 yellow. So there's 2. 3. 4. 5. 6. 7. And this one's 8. Alright, I'm going to leave that behind, and I need my blue. We're going to switch over to the blue, And we need 5 blue and a green, should finish off this row. So there's 2. Three. 4. And 5. And then here's our green. Alright, and so far that's row 18 done. Row 19, we are going to chain 2 and turn. Starting our square, and then we need to bring the blue up. And we need 5 blue. Okay, 1. 2. 3.
Alexandra sent you some tea.
All right, Vince. 4 and 5. And switching to the yellow next. We need 9 rows of 9 yellow squares. 9 yellow squares, not rows. So there's 1. There's 2. 3. 4. 5. 6. 7. 8. 9, and then we're going to switch over to blue. Three blue and a green will finish off this row. So there's 1. 2. 3. Switch over to green. 'Alright, and that is row 19. All finished. Mark it off. Row 20. Row 20 with 20 squares. Chain 2 and turn. Switching over to blue. So now we need to put 3 blue in. 2. 3. And we're going to be switching over to orange, but so we're done with the yellow. We're going to cut it off. And this orange is called mango, so it's not orange, but it's called mango. I thought it was pretty. So let's switch over to it. And we need 9 of these. So there's 1. 2. 3. 4. 5. 6. 7. 'Wait a second. I think I left the blue behind. And I need that blue. And make sure all your strands are up here when you're working over them. Let's see how many we got. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Eight. And then one more. 9. Now I'm going to leave that behind, and I need my blue next. So I need 6 blue and a green. Should finish off this row. So there's 2. Three. 4. 5. 6. And then switch over to the green. Alright. This is what we have so far. In our, that's row 20, that's 20 rows. 20 rows, 20 squares. It should have 20 squares all together in that row. Row 21. We're going to chain 2 and turn. Alright. Switching over to the blue. We're going to need 6 blue. This is number 3. Four. 5. And 6. Switching over to the orange, or in this case the mango. we need nine of these. It does look like kind of like a dark peach. So this is a 3. Four. 5. 6. 7. 8. 9. Switching back to blue, we need 4 blue and a green. Should finish off this row. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4. And there's row 21. Looking good so far. So 21 finished. '22 next. Chain 2 and turn. Switching over to the blue. We are needing 4 blue. So there's 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then switching over to our mango color. We are needing 10 of these. So there's 1. 2. 3. 4. 'It's a brand new skein, so I'm trying to get some of that out of there. 5. 6. 7. 8. 9. 10. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep. Alright, now we're going to switch over to blue. And then we just need 6 blue and a green to finish off this row. Alright, there's 2. 3. 4. 5. 6. And there we have row 22 finished. Row 23, chain 2 and turn. Then switching over to blue. We are needing 7 blue. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So we were done with the mango in the last row, so we're just going to cut that off. And now we're going to add the yellow. We're going back to the yellow. And we need 10 yellow. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then we're going to switch over to blue. We need 4 blue and a green to finish off this row. One, 2, 3, 4. So now there's row 23. Finished. Row 24. Chain 2 and turn. Then we'll switch over to blue. And we are going to need 2 blue. Switching back to green, we need a green. And then 2 blue. And then we're going to switch to yellow. Then we need 10 yellow. So there's 1. 2. 3. 4. 5. 6. 7. 8. 9. And 10. And then we're switching back to blue. Now we need 3 blue. Two. And 3. A green. And then 3 blue again. And then a green. All right, and then that is row 24. Row 25. Chain 2 and turn. All right, switching to the blue from the green. Oh, wait a minute. Never mind. I'm not switching to the blue yet. We actually we're starting this row out with 6 green. So there's 1. 2. I'm bringing this blue up with me. And actually, I should have brought it up the other way. Hang on a minute. I think it would have been better to bring that up over here. Yeah. Alright, so that was 2. 3. 4. 5. This is 6. Now we're going to switch to the blue. And we actually need 2 blue. And then we're going to switch to the yellow. And we need 11 yellow. So there's 1. 2. 3. 4. 5. 6. 7. 8. 9. 10. 11. And we're switching over to the blue. So we only need 1 blue and 5 green. We'll finish off this row. I'm going to carry this blue up a little bit. So there's 1. 2. 3. 4. 5. I carried that blue up here because the next row we're going to need it there. And that's why I did that. Alright. Alright, so that's 25 rows and that is 25 squares. And I'm actually going to cut off this yellow because the next row we're starting back to the lavender again in the egg. So right here, this is what it should, this is what it looks like. Looking pretty cool. Alright, so this like I said, that was row 25, and this is the last row of this video. Alright, so when we come back the next, on to tomorrow, we're going to start decreasing both ends. Okay, when we start 26. So we'll be decreasing both ends and working our way up into the other corner. So I hope you guys are having a lot of fun making this Easter egg with me. I want to thank you guys for watching. Have a great day, and bye-bye now.